You're listening to the Valued Podcast with Shayne and Luke Wyler. So I'm alone today in the studio. Luke's not here with me, but I have some exciting news to share with you. Let's jump in. Welcome to the show. This is actually the last episode of the Valued Podcast, but the beginning of a new podcast called Being You. So as we go over this, basically what I'm going to share with you is why the rebrand, why the shift, with the intention of a couple things. One, basically, if you are going through a rebrand and you need some context in terms of how to figure that out and a framework to walk through that, I'm going to share with you what we've done and how we've actually determined that it was time to do a rebrand and shift everything from W Company and the Value Leader over to servant development and the servant community and our new podcast called Being You. And secondly, because you've been following along in this podcast, I want to give you a context in terms of how things have shifted, why they've shifted, and just to thank you, because you have been with us up to this point, and we are so grateful for that. And we want to invite you over to the new show, over to Being You. And I'll give you the details on how to find out where that is as we go along. But you can always check out our new site, our new website at servant.tools. Today, I want to talk to you about aligning everything that you're doing to fulfill your purpose, because that's actually what led us to do the whole rebrand. It was taking a look at and always looking at how do we need to do this? What do we need to align? What's out of alignment in terms of helping you fulfill your purpose at the end of the day? And we have done lots of those shifts over the years that I'll share a little bit about and go into more detail over at Being You. But today I want to share three key things that have walked us through this process. And I'll start with number one. So the very first thing that is really, really important is to understand the problem that we're here to solve. And that's, many of us have really no idea who we are or why we're here. And in that we struggle to actually know what our identity is and what our purpose is and how to find those things and then shape our lives around those things so that we can be in integrity to actually fulfill our purpose and do what we have been called to do everywhere that we're being called to serve. So that's at the heart of everything that we do. And it keeps getting clearer and clearer and clearer on how to do that every time we step out to do it. And as you know, over the years, there are lots of things that we have attempted to teach, thought we should teach. But at the end of the day, there are either others teaching those things that are masters at it, and we don't need to teach those things. And as we looked at it, we realized that we just need to specialize in helping transform you to fulfill your purpose so that you can serve everywhere that you're being called to serve. That's a big calling, but also a very specific calling, and requires us to do very specific things, just like you. Whatever your purpose is, whatever your vision is, and what you're calling people into, and the dream that you are calling people into, there is a very specific way and tools that you need to be able to do that. And that's all that we're exemplifying here in this rebrand. So I hope that encourages you that as things shift and change for you, that you'll be able to move with it as it does, because the blessing is so sweet and the reward is so amazing just in knowing that you are walking out the next right thing to do. So that leads me to the very first point I want to share with you today, and that in fulfilling your purpose, you are actually welcomed to serve. In fulfilling your purpose, you're actually welcomed to serve. So I want to unpack that here for us. So over the years, I started out as an actor, as you know, and in that I was running a production company in order to facilitate that acting career. I produced media, we did theater, and all the films and everything that I was in was run through that production company. Then I met my wife and we began a production company together. And in running that production company, that evolved into a marketing company, and then into Seven, which is what we did before W Company, and then W Company, and now Servant Development. All of those things, even though on the surface, it looks like they're very different things. An acting career, an acting production company, a media company, a leadership company, a business development company, and now servant development, basically working with every single person, every company, every community, every country, every family that really wants to understand who they are and why they're here and actually fulfill that. That is the culmination of everything that we've been doing for the past 18 or 20 years together as a family, as a couple, and those that we've worked with along the way. So there are some key things that we've learned this past year in 2024 that caused us to kickstart this rebrand sooner than later. So back in September 2024, the Lord began this journey, the Lord being God. As you know, I'm a man of faith. So in that one day in September 2024, I was reading the Bible and I came across Matthew 23, verse 8 to 10. I've read it before, but this time I saw it in a whole new way. And it really convicted me. And I brought that to the family and said, I think we need to dig into this, because this is saying some stuff that will change things if we take this to heart and take this as truth that we know it to be. What we realized was that there's a huge difference between leadership and servanthood. Leadership and servanthood. Those two things, obviously we had, a part of what we were teaching before was servanthood, but it is the key focus at this point, because we realize that you can't actually fulfill your purpose if you're not serving. If you're coming from a place of anything else other than servanthood, you're going to miss the mark. You're going to miss fulfilling your purpose. And here's why. I'm just going to share some things that I've seen myself and others do over the years between the difference of leadership and servanthood. Here's one key thing that I see people, myself included, us included, get caught in all the time when we come from this place of leadership. As you step into any situation as the leader or as a leader, we have a tendency to take on responsibilities that aren't ours because we want so badly to move the people from A to B that we are leading, and we therefore pick up things that aren't ours to do, and we end up using an agenda, using manipulation, using strategy and tactics to get people to move from A to B that don't want to move from A to B. That's technically not leadership. That's manipulation. And we have ourselves included, but I see this everywhere in the world, that is a form of leadership or something that's tagged as leadership that actually does a disservice to us all. That's very different than stepping into that same situation where people need to move from A to B and coming in as a servant. As you come in as a servant, what happens is you meet people where they're at. You move with them as they're able to move at the speed with which they need to move and can move. And you don't need all these tactics. You don't need all this strategy. You just need the heart to serve. And everything, all the actions come out of that place in context to the people and with the people that you are actually helping move from A to B. And here's the huge blessing. As you step in to serve, you actually call them to serve as well. When you step in as a leader, people tend to take a back seat and let you do the majority of the work and lead them through it. It's a weird phenomenon. I've seen it happen so many times. And as I started to test this out, as I read the scripture, which I'm going to read in a minute, as I read the scripture, I realized we all have this tendency when we step in as a leader to take on responsibility that is not ours to take. And as you know, as we teach, you have to be where you are needed and wanted. Any other place is a distraction. You actually step in to steal other people's opportunities. And that never bodes well. If you are leading somebody, dragging them along in a way that they don't want to go, you're actually taking an opportunity that is somebody else's to step in to serve, just to lead them from A to B. It's not going to bode well. It's not going to go well. Even if you get them across the canyon, you're still going to feel unsatisfied. They're still going to feel like they missed something. And that is not what fulfilling your purpose is about. Fulfilling your purpose is about everyone winning at the end of the day. And in order to do that, I've realized this past year that on a deeper level, because as I said, I knew this, we knew this, but we've gained some real clarity on this, that in order to fulfill your purpose, you must step in from a place of servanthood, not leadership. And as you serve, you empower others to serve in the areas where they can, and you actually call them up, and you need them to serve, and they need to step up to serve, or you can't accomplish the fullness of what it is that you're being called to together. So where leadership actually tends to breed heroism, you being the hero or the leader leading everyone and them getting the accolades and them becoming the hero, servanthood causes a whole other phenomenon to happen. You actually, as I shared, it causes you to serve others so that they can serve. And in that, as everyone starts to do that, everyone has the place and the ability and the environment, the culture is shaped so that everyone can serve within that. And that's how amazing things happen. That's how the right things happen. That's how the right things get done with the right people at the right time in the right place with the right resources, and everything coming together is because everyone is given a place to serve where their contribution is valued and where they are able to actually fulfill their purpose, and transformation takes place, because you can't actually do that without allowing yourself and allowing others to be transformed in the process, because fulfilling your purpose is a transformative process. It just happens. We are transformed as we fulfill our purpose. Others are transformed as we fulfill our purpose, and they are given the opportunity to fulfill their purpose. And so everyone wins in that situation. When a leader steps in, there is a huge temptation and a huge risk for just the leader to succeed and the team to get some success, but not actually get everything that they could get if they were given that place where they were actually given the opportunity to serve and serve how they are meant to serve, not how they are told to serve. Those are two very different environments. So here's Matthew 23, 8-10. I just want to read this. This is what convicted us back in September 2024. But you are not to let yourselves be called rabbi, teacher, because you have one rabbi, teacher, and you are all each other's brothers. We are all brothers working together, and we are to look to Christ as our rabbi, as our teacher, on how to do what it is that we are being called to do together as brothers and sisters. And do not call anyone on earth Father, because you have one Father, and he is in heaven. That's God, Yahweh. Nor are you to let yourselves be called leaders, because you have one leader, and he is the Messiah, which is Yeshua, Jesus. The greatest among you must be your servant, for whoever promotes himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be promoted. When I read that, that changed everything. And when I brought that to my family, it changed everything, because we looked at that and went, the Bible is truth, and we are to follow it as truth. So if that's true, then we need to change some stuff. And I realized quickly, and am continuing to realize this as I continue to dig in to the scriptures and to the Bible to really understand, well, what does this mean? What does it mean to be a servant? I quickly realized that the people that we look to that have accomplished amazing things through history that the Bible lays out for us, God calls them his servants. He doesn't call them his leaders. He calls them his servants. We are to be servants, not leaders, not rabbis. We have a rabbi. We have a teacher. That is Jesus. We have a leader, which is Jesus. And we have a father, which is God. We have those things. We can lean on them in order to do what it is that we've been called to do and serve where they are calling us and where they've made us to serve. Where God has made us to serve, we can lean on him and know that he is going to provide everything that we need in order to fulfill on the purpose that he's given to us. That is a given. We can lean on that and trust on that. Matthew 23, 8-10 is another proof that that is true. Here's the other amazing difference between leadership and servanthood that I've noted over the years, but specifically within the last, since September 2024. When you step in from a place of servanthood, it's so much easier to understand where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, with whom you're supposed to be doing it. But when you step in as a leader, it can get really confusing and really foggy, really easy, because you're coming in with this agenda that I'm going to lead you from A to B. But when you step in from this place of, I'm going to serve you, I think you're going to, I think what's best for you is to move from, I can see that you're stuck in A, I can help you get to B, but let's do that together. That's a place of servanthood. And I know that people have talked about servant leadership, But I'm even proposing that we even take the word leadership out of servant leadership and we just serve. We just be servants. We don't even worry about the leadership part because we have a leader. We just need to serve. We just need to follow our leader and serve where he asks us to serve. That's our job. And specifically, you have a very specific purpose. That is your place to serve. And you will be called to serve within that purpose where you have opportunity to meet the need that you are here to help meet. It's really that simple. It's not complicated. It's very hard, definitely hard, but it is that simple. So here's the other piece. It takes real humility and courage to confidently step in with certainty to serve. And you can only have that confidence, that certainty, that courage when you step in from a place of servanthood. Because if you don't, you run the risk, and I've seen it happen, even if you have the best of intentions, you run the risk of overpromising and under-delivering. Because you want so badly to help somebody move from A to B, it's a tendency that we all have is to say, whatever the promise is, we overpromise. And if it's not something that we can deliver on, which it always is when we overpromise, you are definitely going to underdeliver, and that is going to devalue the other person, and potentially lead them into a place of greater harm. And none of us want that. But when you come from a place of servanthood, you only promise what it is that you can deliver on. It's quite phenomenal. So I encourage you, step into this place, to this idea, to this reality of servanthood and away from leadership. It is hard to do, especially because we've all been trained to be leaders. We have this teaching out there that we are to be leaders and lead them because they don't know better, or we can do it better, or we can lead them there. But it's always going to lead us astray because people don't need a leader. They just need to get from A to B. And that takes servanthood. That takes service. That takes us sitting on the curb with them going, it sucks where you are. I get it. I totally get it. There's this other place that you could be if you want to be there. And I'm happy to help you get there with the wisdom that I have, with the experience, with the tools that I have to help get you there. But it's really up to you. And however fast you want to move, we can move. But that has to come from you. That willingness and that want, that desire has to come from you. I can't lead you there if you don't want to go there. And in fact, I'm not even going to lead you there. I'm going to serve you, and I'm going to give you everything that I have to give you so that you can get there. And I'll champion you as you go along, because it's an amazing ride, an amazing journey. And I would love to walk that with you. It's your choice. What do you want to do? That's the difference where, when we step in as a leader, it's like, hey, you man, come on, get up. Let's go. Let's move come on, you can't stay here. Let's go. There's a better place for you to get here. It's not a great experience. We've all been there. We've all done it. We've all had that done to us. It's not fun. Even if we do need it, the right way to do it is to serve someone, to help move them from A to B. And we all know it. It's just a lot harder to do. There's more work involved. There's more care involved. There's more humanity involved. You have to get in the mess with people, but that's okay. Because that's what we need. We need that from each other to be able to walk alongside of each other, whatever that looks like, whatever the product, whatever the service, whatever the conversation, whatever the friendship, whatever the relationship needs to be, if it's, personal or professional, those things just need to be in place, and the right things will be in place when you step in from a place of servanthood over being a leader. I promise you. So that is the first point that led us to the rebrand. Is that in order to fulfill our purpose, we were being welcomed to serve, and we were being welcomed into a deeper place of servanthood. And so we had to go, or we were going to be out of integrity. So just like us, for you, there may be times, and I guarantee there will be times where you are being called to a deeper level. That is going to cause realignment, which may look like a rebrand in terms of who you are as a person, meaning things are going to get stripped away from you that you no longer need, or that were never supposed to be a part of you, that you just picked up along the way. That happens to us as people. That happens to us as companies, as communities, as countries. We take on these things that we think that we need, that we think that we should have, but we don't need them at the end of the day because they're not right tools for us. We need the right tools to be able to fulfill on our purpose. That's it. That's a lifelong journey for us as people, for us as families, as countries, communities, companies. That's a lifelong journey. For as long as you're engaged in those relationships, in those places with other people, that's a lifelong journey. So the second point that I want to share with you today out of the 3 points that we're going to talk about is that as you fulfill your purpose, you serve others to serve. You serve others so that they can serve. As you fulfill your purpose, you serve others so that they can serve. That leads me to the second realization that we came to in 2024, which was there is this trap that we have been teaching about for a number of years, but we saw it in a whole new light. And that trap of leadership is me and we. There's a me-we trap in leadership that isn't there in servanthood, because servanthood is about us. There is no me-we. It's about us. So in leadership, well, let me start here. Every single relationship that you're going to encounter, be it personally or professionally, as a person, as a company, family, community, country, every single relationship, there's 3 stages that we've noted. 1, me. 2, we. 3, us. So as you come into a new relationship, it's 2 me's coming together, or a number of me's coming together. And in that, you need to negotiate that dance to ultimately let go of me so that you can step into we. But we is simply really a collection of me's. When we get caught in the me-we trap, we just bounce back and forth from me to we and we back to me. And this is what it sounds like. So if you find yourself saying things like, I'm here for blank, or this isn't working for me, or I get so much out of this relationship, you're standing in me. This company does this for me. We have great benefits. I get great benefits at this company. All those things are me focused. If the relationship is healthy enough, then we actually get to move into we. So if the culture is healthy enough where, it's not just a bunch of me's anymore, but those me's are willing to let other people move into that space with them, then we get to this place of we, which is where most of us live our life for the majority of it. Most of us never move out of this. Most companies, their culture is we related. It doesn't move beyond this into us. So we sounds like, well, we do this. This is what we can do for you. We don't do this. We provide this. We help you with this. Or, we love to go here on our vacation. This is our vacation. We love to do that. This is who we are as a family. That's we focused. So again, that's a bunch of me's that have come together that have some sort of agreement that they're able to function together in some sort of a healthy way, and they become we. Most relationships, as I shared, get stuck here in the me-we trap, bouncing back and forth between we and me. And that leads to divorce, right? This marriage isn't working for me anymore. That's what was once we, bouncing back to me. Or you know what? I can't work at this job anymore. It doesn't work for me. That was once we that bounced back to me. And those are legitimate because ultimately those are areas where you can't grow past we. For whatever reason, the culture, the relationship won't let you grow past we. But the goal is to move into us. So move from me, we, into us. That's where a relationship truly begins to thrive. Because when you're able to step out of the me, we trap and into us, you move from this place of it being exclusive. Me and we are exclusive. This is me, this is we. You are not me and we, so you are over there. As you move beyond that exclusivity, you actually move into inclusivity into us. And that all of those that are wanting to be a part of us have a place to be a part of us. All those that don't want to be a part of us, there's no competition, there's no ill feelings, there's nothing. It's just they're not a part of us. There's no exclusivity. They're welcome to be a part of us if they need and want what us is about. That's us. Us is inclusive. So me, we is exclusive, as I said, because me is always versus we, and we is always versus others. But us is inclusive for all those that need and want to be a part of it. And us is where servanthood lives. That's its home. In us, me and we are actually taken care of because me and we are a part of us. But if we focus on me and we, us becoming us is never realized. because it has the wrong focus. To focus on us includes me and we, but me and we does not include us. I'm going to say that one more time. Us includes me and we. It cares for me and we and takes care of me and we, but me and we does not include us. It's exclusive. Us can't get in. So we had to rebrand because of everything that we were doing needed to be about us. It needed to be inclusive of every single person, of every single entity being a family, a company, a community, a country that wanted to actually get over this identity crisis and actually understand who they really are and fulfill their purpose the way that they are meant to everywhere that they're being called to serve. That's an us environment, not a we environment. W Company was focused. It was trying to reach an us. We realized it was really stuck in me and we, because we were even using language like that, this is what we do, this is what we're about, as opposed to using inclusive language and going, join us. Let's do this together. And as that changed over time, it became more and more clear that we needed to take that step to rebrand, move away from W Company and into servant development. All right, this leads me to the third point, that as you fulfill your purpose, others are championed to serve. As you fulfill your purpose, others are championed to serve. That is where us is fully realized. So as you fulfill your purpose, others are championed to serve. And that is where us is fully realized, because that is where everyone is valued for their contribution. That is where everyone has peace, has joy, and is loved for who they are and what they bring to the table. All of that is welcomed. And it's needed in order to fulfill their purpose, both as individuals and collectively as a group. So I've noticed over the years that when myself or others admit that they have a need, the right answer to that need comes, along with so many other distractions and temptations to lure us away from properly getting that need met. But as you admit that you have a need, the right solution is in that mix. The hard part is sort of working through the distractions and the temptations to really understand what the right solution for that need is. But it really takes one being honest and vulnerable and going, yeah, you know what? I need some help with this. So here's a couple examples. I mean, you could date anyone you wanted to, but there is a right person for you to marry. And in that, as you focus on, okay, I'm going to marry the right person, which we all talk about, but as you stand in that place of rightness or righteousness, rightfulness, that actually changes how you live. That actually changes how you interact with others. And it's not about dating until you find the right one. It's about finding the right one. And it's about waiting for that right person to come. It's patience. It's hard. It's the hard thing. So in that place of standing and waiting for the right person to come, you're actually sacrificing for them so that when they actually come, you're ready to serve them and you're ready to step into us and you avoid the me-we trap. But when we don't trust that process and we, to use the analogy, we date until we find the right one, we actually end up focused more on me and we struggle more to get to us later because we have to undo all of those bad habits. So that goes for any type of relationship. I just use dating as an example because it's an easy one to for most of us to relate to. But same thing on the business side. I mean, as a company or as consumers, we could buy from anyone we want to, but there is a right company to buy from based on the need that we have. So as we admit that we have a need, the hard work is to find the right solution to our problem, right? To that answer to that need. But we are bombarded with marketing all day long that tells us these inferior products can solve our problem. And then we buy those inferior products. And I say they're inferior because they're not right for our particular situation. They might be right for someone else, but not right for us because we haven't done the work. We end up buying that. We end up possibly causing harm to us, getting further and further into that hole where that need is because we didn't get it met. And it's the company's job to be very, very specific to say, we are the right solution for you if you're in this place. And if you're willing to do this particular kind of work, because that's what it's going to take, because every need met requires work from us to get it met. So if you're willing to do that work, we are willing to help you and work with you, with the products and services that we have to get you there. Now, it's up to them to tell you how those products and services are going to help you. And if they can't do that, sadly, they might be the right product, but because they're unable to actually clearly articulate that, they may miss that opportunity. We may go longer with that need being unmet. So that leads to the other reason why we don't tend to tell people the needs that we have, because we know that we can be taken advantage of or sold things that actually aren't going to help and just put money in somebody's pocket. That is not a place of servanthood on the company's part, or that is not a place of servanthood on the person that's trying to find the right person to marry. That's just lying, manipulating to get what you want. And we all know that that's possible. So that makes us put up our guard when it comes to actually getting a need met. We're very hesitant to share that we have a need because we don't want to be sold. But when we come from this place of servanthood, even if the person that's coming to you is manipulating you or selling you, you can still come from a place of servanthood and go and say, no, even though I know that I have this need, you'll be able to see clearly that this is not the right solution, because you know that that solution is not going to serve you. That relationship is not going to serve the need that you have. Again, it's really, really simple, but really, really difficult. And it requires a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, and a lot of certainty to be able to stand in that place of servanthood. And I can honestly say that that doesn't come until you clarify your purpose. Once you clarify your purpose, that opens the door to you to be able to start and stand in this place of servanthood. So here's a few encouragements that I've taken from the last year, 2024. And this goes for any single relationship that you find yourself in, both personally and professionally, as a company, with your clients, with your family members, with your neighbors in your community, and even those that we live with in our countries. Here's what I've learned. We have to draw lines where we don't settle for less. And we also have to not promise more. So we have to stop settling for less and stop promising more. We just need to fulfill our purpose in the relationships where we're given opportunity to do so, as we step in to serve where we're being called to serve. It really is that simple. We really need to be where we're both needed and wanted, and avoid the places where we're wanted but not needed, or needed but not wanted, because those, again, are distractions. And distractions are trying to steal other people's opportunities, and that's never going to work well. It's never going to bode well. We're going to have to resort to manipulation. We're going to have to take on this leadership role to lead the person because we know better. We just need to serve. We just need to step in, be where we're needed and wanted, and serve from that place to fulfill our purpose where we're being called to serve with the tools that we have available. And that's enough. That's enough. This is why we had to rebrand, so we could confidently and courageously and with certainty step into where we are actually needed and wanted the most, which is ultimately with people that want to serve and that are hungry to serve and hungry to be where they're being called to serve. So we rebranded. We moved from W Company, which technically was about us, W being for Wyler, our last name, into this place of servanthood, which is servant development, which isn't about us at all. It's about us, but not about us. It's about each of us coming together to serve in that community of other like-minded people that want to serve, that want to be where they're being called to serve, and let this idea of leadership go and embrace the reality of servanthood. And as I shared, as you've heard me say many, many times, many of us really have no idea who we are and why we're here. And we are struggling with our identity and our purpose. And we create these identity for ourselves, for our families, for our companies, our communities, and even countries that lead us to being distracted, devalued, and discarded in the very places where we long to make a difference and an impact. As this is the last episode of the Valued Podcast, I invite you to journey with us and move from wherever you're lost, because we're all lost, and be found in fulfilling your purpose and serving where you're being called to serve. And we're doing that over at Servant Development, and we are doing that through the Being You podcast. So if you go to servant.tools, you'll find the Being You podcast there. And so I call you to be you, to serve everywhere that you're being called to serve, to fulfill your purpose, and be transformed in that. and allow others to be transformed by them simply getting a need met that you can help them with in their lives, get it met, and move on so that they can serve and serve from where they need to be so that they can fulfill their purpose and all the relationships that they find themselves in. Aligning everything that you're doing to fulfill your purpose is going to shift some things, 100%. You may even need to rebrand. So as personally, as a company, as a community, as a country, you may even need to rebrand because your understanding of fulfilling your purpose has deepened. And you realize, just like us, that we need to simplify things and get even more focused. And sometimes as you've been doing this for a while, like us, 18, 20 years, it's hard to do that because you've built so much of a platform on that particular brand. But what I'm learning and what we're learning is that you have to take those steps. And as you're honest and forthcoming about those things, people will come with you. And those that want to go deeper with you will continue to follow you, will continue to come. And so that you can all serve together and you can be us together. And those that don't want to be part of us, that's okay. Because there is an us that they are to be a part of. We have to break through this me-we trap. It doesn't lead to anything that is actually going to be fulfilling at the end of the day. Because ultimately we are to be functioning in us, fulfilling our purpose, serving those that we are being called to serve every single day. So as you step into aligning everything that you're doing with your purpose, you may need to rebrand. And that's okay. I encourage you to embrace it because we all need you to. All right. So I'm excited to see you. If you want to be a part of us, join us at Being You. And I look forward to sharing all the new content there, the new interviews that we're going to be having, all around focused around fulfilling your purpose. All right. We'll see you there.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to dig deeper into clarifying and fulfilling your purpose, we invite you to visit us at servant.tools. There you'll find all our frameworks, our online servant community, and masterminds to truly find your purpose and get the tools you need to fulfill it everywhere you are being called to serve. Thank you again. Fulfill your purpose. Transform your life.